#1 Iron Age Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. What's going on, everybody? Oh, man, I have practiced that too much. I sound like such a freaking YouTuber. What's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, we made it to another Friday. Probably my favorite night of the week. I don't know. I don't know if Fridays are my favorite nights of the week, or if possibly Comic Shop Wednesdays, which would be Wednesdays. I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. This is the show where we bring you a fantastic creator who is putting forth a new project that absolutely will blow your mind. Well, at least I hope it blows your mind. And if it doesn't blow your mind, you need to tell the creator why. Because that creator, at least the creators in our space, actually care and want to become better. So, for everybody out there,
good.
Huh?
Feedback is good.
Feedback is good. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. We're going to have a fantastic conversation with a tabletop RPG creator who did something that, one, I think the artwork is absolutely just awesome. I'm going to stop trying to use like whimsical words anymore because I get roasted every time I do that. But the artwork is fantastic. The idea.
Don't be transcendent.
Try to use an above average language. And hey, look at that beer.
Yeah, just drink. It's fine.
Yeah, just drink. And ladies and gentlemen, A.S. Bruner, down in the chat, I do have to read this really quickly before I introduce the chat, but A.S. Bruner says, no step on Sneaky.
Has no step on Snicky.
No step on Snicky. That was great, man. I love, by the way, your merch looks awesome. Hopefully that is in the links that you sent me. But ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it is time to say hello to everybody who makes this show, and that is you guys in the chat from Rumble and YouTube. And as always, I will start over on Rumble, and I will ask everybody, go over to the Rumbles. One of these days, they're going to ban me off of this platform like they're going to ban a bunch of other people because, well, I'm not too nice with what the YouTube thinks, but that's okay because we're on Rumble. Over on Rumble, we got Frequency Studios. What's going on, man? We got Chat Sue. He's lurking tonight. What's going on? I like it when you lurk. It's kind of terrifying, but that's okay. Over on YouTube, we've got Frederick Greenmont. What's going on, man? Darkish Multiverse. How are you? Wrangler, who is also Frequency Studios. He's double dipping. Drops 420. Just leaves. He don't say words or nothing. He just drops 420 and leaves. Horizon Talker, how are you, man? A.S. Bruner, what's going on? Timo Burnham. Oh, by the way, we got Sword Rush over on Rumble. Dicebag. You're double dipping.
I'm in your chats.
Menu chats. Timo Burnham drops $2. It says goat TM. Swift Sword Rush, how are you doing over on YouTube? You are double dipping as well. Christopher D. Brand, I'm not even going to acknowledge that. It's just a bunch of goat emojis. Tim Allen, what's going on? Raving Dad Gaming, how are you doing? 10 Cage, what's going on? Whimsyland, you're double dipping.
Hi.
Rose, my lovely wife. No, you're not getting a fucking leopard. No.
But it's the Friday leopard.
No, I'm not buying her a leopard.
You will buy something.
Well, probably. That's not even a lie. The Guy Patron just dropped in on Rumble. That is a new name.
That is my art assistant, actually.
That is awesome. Well, welcome, Patron. Welcome. It's good to see. I love seeing new names up there, man. Resonant One, how are you doing, man? It's good to see you down there. Guilty Gearhead, what's going on? Did I say hello to 10 Cage already? I don't remember if I did, but if I didn't, hello. Maji Chin, how are you? The chat just jumped. Evely Music, what is going on? Dicebag, triple dipping. He's got the triple dip tonight. SC Vincent, how are you? And I believe I have caught up with everybody in the chat so far. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a fantastic conversation. Lisa, I hope it's a fantastic conversation. And if it is not, as I always say, it's my fault because I am the host. And if for some reason you don't have fun tonight, that's on me. Also, probably you. It's probably mostly your fault. You guys are all you're just weird. You're just weird. So,
not a great way to start the show, Royce.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay. They know they're weird. Are you kidding me? Resonant One, no, I'm not buying my wife a leopard. The amount, there's just going to be a whole roster of pharma. All right, guys, I guess before I continue any further, I need to do something that I absolutely suck at doing. And I'm going to do a couple of things here. One, I'm going to say, if you are not a part of my Gilded community, I want to invite you to become a part of the Gilded community, because that is where the artists, the writers, the meme lords are all converging, and they're actually talking with each other. And I have actually heard from quite a few people that, one, they enjoy being over in the Gilded, and two, the networking over there for projects is unreal. It is absolutely unreal. So go over there and check out the Gilded. You can join for free. I don't have it behind a paywall. I would say this, though. You probably want to answer the question. Because if you don't answer the question, I don't let you in. The other thing that I do want to shill, and this is really hard. I feel like Daniel right now. Oh, it's weird. The other thing I would like to shill, it does feel weird. I do have a Teespring store with the very first merch that I have ever put together. I'm not saying it's the best merch in the world, but it is my merch. It is my first merch, and I do intend to put out more. I saw the very first A Drink with Crazy t-shirts shared on Twix the other day, and man, that was just a rush. People have bought coffee cups. I've got the pint glasses over there, and it would just be, if you guys so feel, obviously don't feel pressured at all, but if you guys so feel, and you guys would like some A Drink with Crazy merchandise, there's stickers and things like that. So go over, check it out over on my Teespring store. And now that I have done that horrible, gross, I don't know why, it just,
that was a hard sell. I mean,
dude,
you basically said, get off this channel if you're not going to buy something from me. Like, you're not welcome here. You're my little pay pigs. Get onto it. Let's go.
We don't want y'all freeloaders around here.
I don't think I said that. I'm like 90% sure I didn't say that.
See, this, you could tell he's genuinely uncomfortable now. So
whole new perspective now, huh, Royce?
Yeah.
No, I already knew what you were going through. It's just a lot easier. I don't know. I'll tell that story, why it's so hard for me to do that stuff. I'll tell that story. I've told that story in Gilded a few times. If you guys want to see it live, ask me at the end of the show and I'll get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to introduce a man who I absolutely believe is going to rise through the ranks of the Iron Age in epic fashion, and is already doing such. He's definitely more well-known than I, which is not hard to do, but you know, it's a little bit hard to do. I maybe. And ladies and gentlemen,
I guess it depends on which platform.
Well, yes. It's time to introduce Richard. How are you doing, man? How was your last week, Ben? You went on vacation.
It's been very good. Yeah, I went on a quick vacation with my wife and got to go to the Rockies and relax, and that was very good.
Where'd you go? What town?
Actually, just outside of Estes Park, which is like the place where everybody goes for
okay, and it has nothing to do. So I used to live in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I did a ton of work in Estes Park when I was in the gas world.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely hate being there.
Well, it doesn't seem like it's the most convenient place to be. That's for sure.
It is. I had to work there when it was the middle of it because Estes Park didn't want any construction work done during tourist season. Oof. But I will say this, in the summertime, on the rare job that I had up there in the summertime, it's actually really beautiful. So
yeah, it's a very beautiful place. And we went into the park for some hiking and just sightseeing and everything else. We didn't go too crazy because we we're basically from sea level, so that was a bit much.
Yeah, you got to be careful, or otherwise you guys are going to get hypoxic going up there, and that is not hypoxia or altitude sickness is a real thing.
Yes, yeah.
So,
but I was going to say the other big thing is that I got the proof for the second issue of Anvil. So
look at that!
We're and you can watch a flip through on the YouTube or Twitter.
Awesome.
So that's coming along. Hopefully, we will have all of the issue number 2s printed and in hand next week, so that I can stay on course with fulfillment. I don't think there's going to be any problems with that. I have a very good feeling about this printer. They seem really on the ball. So
good. Different printer than the
different printer.
Okay. I was gonna say because that first printer I know gave you
it was like basically a month of excitement, shall we say? So politically
correct.
Well, I don't want to get started.
I know it's fine. It's fine. If it were me, if let's hypothetically if I would have been more along the lines of the pricks that I hired to do the first one couldn't complete the job the way that it needed to be done. And after the third owner decided to finally grace his presence, I was finally able to then go in and tell everybody, hey, if you don't get your shit together, I'm going to have to do something. Now that something could involve something big. I don't know. But that's how I would have described that. Richard's so politically correct, good sir. I love it. And that's why I have Daniel and Richard. They tone me down a lot.
Yeah, but issue number 2 is coming right along. You could still get it. If you go to amplemagazine.com, you can still get to the Indiegogo campaign, which is still up. So yeah. If you missed out, there's a little bit longer. And then after that, I'm not sure when I'm going to figure out how to do direct sales, but it's coming along. Also, because I just remembered on ironage.media, if you want to vote on the August short story and flash fiction and poetry prompts, the voting is going on now and continues through Wednesday. So go support your Iron Age authors and the folks who are trying to, build an audience and hone their skills.
And I've been shilling that on the weekly, like Monday news roundup thing, which is, that's the news roundup. It's interesting, but I know I've been shouting that out there. And because I think it's a really good way for artists to just be like, all right, put them kind of a little bit out of their comfort zone, depending, and then get something out there and hopefully get some new fans. I think it's a really, really cool way to do that. So,
yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a man who I guess writes books. I don't know. He does once in a while. And then he tells other people, right? And then he also tells other people, hey, do you know that beaten, broken, and abused story that you abandoned years ago? And you know how you just can't get it? Well, that's because it's afraid. Let this man into your head and let him pull that poor, broken, afraid story out and put him on the page. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel P. Riley of Whimsyland.
Howdy.
What's going on, good sir? How have you been this last week, man?
I am still fighting off a illness that hit me last weekend, so I'm a bit stuffy, but otherwise doing well, working hard. A lot of things coming very, very soon. I have all of the pages for the comic finally mapped out. Now they just need to be drawn, and then we can get going on the printy side.
Attaboy. That's awesome, dude. I'm excited for it. I have the books here at the house. I haven't read them yet. So.
I'm excited about it just from writing out the storyboards, man. It's awesome. It's really fun to do, surprisingly.
We're gonna have to get into the differences between writing a story and writing storyboards.
Yes.
These days. I'm actually surprised we haven't with some of the people that we've had on, but no, that'd be a very, very interesting conversation to have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with my two hosts being introduced, the degenerate and horrible chat as they were down there introduced, it's time to introduce somebody who has been sharing their fantastic artwork, their merchandise, their idea for the game that they're building on the Comic Shop Wednesday streams for probably 2 months now, give or take. Don't trust my sense of time. And I saw this, and when I saw this, I saw the artwork, I saw the idea behind it, and I went, this is something that I feel a lot of people could get into. This is something that I think if parents, depending on system and all that, could get their kids into. And ultimately, I'm very, very excited. I am very, very glad we were finally able to schedule this, ladies and gentlemen. Dicebag Games, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Got rested up today.
Good.
Was busy earlier in the week because of the announcement and preparing for that, but I busted it out. So,
and that was the announcement that we saw on Comic Shop Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's right.
That
The,
was. No. What? And that was. I actually scroll and pull it up, but I'd love to scroll and pull it up, which I'm doing right now. It's just going to take me a minute. There it is. Oh my God, people were still commenting. No, that was the. It was the expansion to your game, or.
It's a predecessor.
It's a predecessor to the game. Sorry,
So, the idea behind this one is I've always kind of envisioned creatures as having basically a format that's just a one-on-one dueling type of game. So this would be that. And this is coming out before that because it only requires the combat system to be functional, which pretty much is already. So I just have to deal with putting things into the right formats and getting it printed and doing some game balance. And I don't really have to worry too much about all the lore and the setting and all that and writing all that up, which is going to be an important part of putting out the actual tabletop RPG. So this is going to be a lot faster to just put out there.
So this would be a really good thing for people who, and I'll get into the other questions here later, but so this would be a really good intro to get used to the combat system before you dive full on into an actual sit down session.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of the idea behind it.
I like that.
That's actually really cool. I actually really like that a lot. Okay. So before I gush too much, because I really, dude, I love your artwork. I love what you're doing. But let's get into this. So where do we start when it comes to, and for just so everybody knows, I'm going to refer to Mr. Dicebag Games as just dice for the evening because it's easier. So where does all of this begin? Does this begin with with toddler dice? Does this begin with teenage dice? Does this begin with adult dice? Where does your journey of artistry and game creation begin? And what inspired you to do it?
Well, I guess I've just been drawing basically as long as I can remember. just casually for the most part. But as far as game design goes, I've also been doing that for a long time, or at least trying to. I haven't published anything except until my card game that I did, I want to say a couple years ago, maybe 3 now. But up until that, I've been dabbling in game design just on and off, basically, almost as long as I can remember. I think the earliest memory I have is being annoyed that I couldn't play the computer because my dad was using it, and I wanted to play Diablo. So I went up to my room and tried to figure out how to make some rules to play Diablo with my Legos.
That's
So
cool.
that's where it started, I guess. Then, of course, eventually I got, Baldur's Gate 2, and if you haven't seen that, the book is thick. The instruction
wow.
manual is practically like a D&D source book on its own. And from
Yep.
there, I was like, I just I dug into that so hard, and basically I practically learned how to play D&D from that. And that was back in the days of freaking Thaco, which they explained in the book. So
it is old school for sure.
Oh, very.
Well,
it was too old for me.
Just make me feel older.
Are you millennial or are you Gen Z, or are you in that like the middle generation that was technically like in between millennial and Gen Z?
I'm millennial.
Oh, okay.
So I actually don't remember how old I was, but I kept going back between a lot of those older games anyways.
Yeah, no, and well, I missed a lot of that. Because we didn't have the ability to get a lot of those older systems. And like, I had a Dreamcast when I was a kid. Like and it was a used one. And I loved my Dreamcast. I didn't have like the best titles because I just, whatever used games, floated my boat. The first, I think, like big game that I remember getting, my dad bought me an Xbox for Christmas when I was like 13 it was like 13 or something like that. And he bought Halo 2 because he asked my brother, hey, what's the biggest, hottest game like that's out? And my brother was like, Halo 2. And it was at the time. And so that's really, outside of that, it was always like trying to play my brother's system because I'm the baby of the family, right? My brothers were teenagers when I was a kid. And so it was always me trying to like play their games. I remember my oldest brother, or not my oldest brother, I'm sorry, my older brother, who was more into games. I remember him having the Devil May Cry demo, the Devil May Cry 1 demo, not even the full game. I remember him playing Ultima Online a lot when my brother, and he was actually really good at it too. I watched some guy come up to and try to challenge my brother. My brother hit like 3 buttons and dropped him, and the guy was a high level, and my brother was like, "Yeah, I'm basically a badass in this server." I used to watch random people come up and say that, like, they were in the Ultima Online, they'd say, "Hail Sir Ganks" a lot because that was my brother's title, and he would just drop it. But yeah, some old school stuff. But I never actually engaged with it because I was too young. You know?
Hell, I remember trying to play Ultima Online as my dad had an account, and I was way too young for it. I think my most my strongest memory from that was that one of my dad's friends at work was way into it, and he had a high level character, and he gave me some of the highest level armor in the game. So I had that, and I went into a dungeon, and I died. And back then, MMOs were cutthroat. So
it was start all over.
While my dead body was laying on the ground, people could just take your stuff. So I lost all the high level armor my first time trying to get out there.
Yep.
I had no idea what I was doing.
I remember watching my brother play, and he goes, "Man, this is a really nice house." And I was like, "What?" So he goes in and he just waits there. Some dude comes in, my brother drops him, and then proceeds to steal the guy's house. And then and then my brother, he's like, "Yeah, this is my house." And I'm like, "What if somebody tries to come steal your house?" He's like, they won't. And I'm like, what? But like, yeah, old school games like that, like there were no protections. It was like whatever you wanted to do, you could do. And like I remember just thinking like, oh my God, like that would be so cool to play a game like that. And I really didn't cut my teeth in gaming. I hardly ever. Like I there were games that I liked, and especially tabletop. Like I don't think I had even heard of Dungeons and Dragons until I was in high school. And then when I did, it was especially when I was in high school, that was still something you could be made fun of for doing. So only like it was a little bit more open. Like you could be a little bit more open about it. But I had never done any sort of tabletop up until the last year. However, as I learned about it, as I got to be an adult, I loved talking with my friends who played it just about their bonkers consents like they would do, just their bonker tables that they would sit at and the stories that they would tell. And I understood everything that they were saying, but at the same time in my mind, I'm just like, it sounds like you guys are all on drugs. They're like, no, we're perfectly sober. And I'm like, okay. And so I'd never experienced that up until this last year. And now that I have a better idea of the concept of it and how much fun it can be. So, you know, when you had presented what you've been doing, it made me go, man, this is really, really cool. So the way that I've described what you're doing is essentially D&D mixed with Pokemon. Is that fair? Is that fair, or am I off base on that?
I think I describe it that way too.
Okay.
So you're pretty spot on.
Okay. I thought I saw you say something like that once, but also I don't remember things the best. My wife will tell you that. So was Pokemon, I mean, I guess so you must have been in that Pokemon generation then, like that.
It's a millennial, of course he was.
Oh, I was playing the first generation on an emulator.
Oh, no kidding.
I didn't have a game where...
That is the Mew card from the movie.
I have a number of those.
I have two. I have mine, and then I have my grandfather's card because my grandfather took me to the movie, so I have both of those in there. But
oh yeah.
So what was it that inspired you to get into? Obviously, you said you wanted to do Diablo, but with Legos. How does that develop further? Where do you go? Where do you go from there?
Oh, that's I don't know if I have enough of a full memory of that time to really describe it, but I guess it's just the creative drive. And once I figured out that, you know, games are made by people and they have rules and I can make up rules, it just kind of, you know, went from there. And of course, you know, learning all the mechanics from the Baldur's Gate book, that kind of opened my eyes to how everything works under the hood, so to speak. And well, I guess it just kind of went from there. And I've been dabbling in stuff like that for a long time. I never really got this far with it until recently, though. So not sure where I go from here, kind of.
Right.
Well, I have a question about the current project, if you will. So what?
Yeah.
For anybody who's not familiar, you know, what's the status there, and where can people go to check this out? And you know, what's the? I basically just give us the pitch on that, if you don't mind.
Give us the pitch. Okay. Creatures spelled with a Y, because this is a portmanteau of crystal creatures, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Y. Just to get that out there. This is basically a fusion of D&D and Pokemon, where you're doing the Pokemon thing, but in this Western fantasy traditional type of world. And yeah, if you go to the World Anvil page, and I see you're on my page, it's in the link tree there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm already working on it. I've been pulling up stuff. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So that is you can basically find most of the stuff I've done on there. I pretty much just anything I get written up, I slap it on there at the quickest opportunity, and there it is. And if you go down to the bottom there, you'll see the world codex there. So that's where all your different pages and groupings of things you can find. Game mechanics will teach you most of the stuff there. So this game is actually pretty playable to an extent. It just kind of lacks content and lore and all that. That's what I'm mostly working on right now.
Mm-hmm. So as far as
magic word.
So as far as
Right.
mechanics go,
Yeah.
what is the you said that obviously Pokemon is a major influence here. Is it very much like the kind of tabletop card game style Pokemon, or are we more in the kind of like a familiar? You know what I mean?
Familiar?
Well, like
what do
with
we-
D&D and some of these other more pen and paper RPGs where you have a familiar and they're acting more as like another party member. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like what you would get with a familiar, I suppose.
Okay.
Although you do have like a team of creatures that you can assemble. Right now, I've got it so you can have up to 4 kind of attuned to you at a time. And I mean, there's an entire magic system I have developed for that whole justification in the rules, which is, well, I could go on and on about that. So.
Well,
Go for it.
Yeah, like as much as you want
please
to
do.
tell people. Obviously, if you want to keep some things secret, go for it. I would very much, if you're okay with it, before we go too deep, as long as I can pull it up quickly, probably can't. But you did an awesome time lapse.
Oh, right.
And that time lapse basically sold the entire panel. I loved it. The music, everything that you did. I'd love to show just a short snippet of that if you're okay with that, because I think what you're doing, again, is just absolutely fantastic. So let me get that link shared down below so people can see this, because we have covered this on Comic Shop Wednesday.
Show the whole thing if you like.
So, well, I don't want to take up all of your time, but
It's only 4 minutes.
this here was something that really, with the music that you did, with the artwork that you're going for, it really feels like you're trying to, and I could be wrong, but it feels like you're trying to inspire that thing that was inspired in you. Am I there at all? Is that
I
that-
guess you could say that.
it? Just that's what I felt when you did this.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, that's what I felt when I saw this video for the first time. Is that you're trying, it just seems like you're trying to build something inspirational. And I could be wrong on that. Some people are just like, no, I just want to build a game. I'm not trying to be the next big game creator. I just want to build a game. And I mean, but there's a lot of passion here, and you can see that from this. And I felt that when I watched this that night.
Yeah, I won't deny that there is some kind of passion there. I'm not too sure if there's like a message. I would say there is, but there's definitely a sense that I'm trying to give off. And that, I guess that sense is kind of the main thing that separates this from like Pokemon. Because with Pokemon, when you get into it, what is Pokemon? It's basically kind of a modernized sci-fi world at its core. Well, this ain't that. This is magical and whimsical, as you said. But yeah, with Pokemon, I always felt like the games have been going in a direction that's less mystifying and more clinical. You get into a new Pokemon game these days, and like everything in the new regions you would go and explore has already been explored. Everything's already in the Pokédex. Everybody already knows everything about all the Pokemon you're dealing with.
Yep.
And one of the things I really wanted to get across with creatures is that things are not so set in stone in the creatures world. In fact, I'm deliberately leaving some gaps in the lore, actually quite a few gaps, because I want dungeon masters and people playing the game to be able to fill in those gaps themselves rather than having it dictated to them.
And I think that that's probably one of the best ways to do it. How many people is creatures like built for, do you think? What would be the, I guess in your mind, like the optimal table size? So you've got your DM, and then how many players?
I would say 3 players is probably the optimal size, because you have to consider that not only do you have the characters to deal with, you're also got the creatures, which are going to be taking part in combat, and that slows things down. So I wouldn't go much beyond that. You could probably do 4, but remember, each person you add is going to be at least 2 extra turns in combat. So for the sake of, expedience, it's probably best to keep it on a smaller group.
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And so, as you said, you're building out the lore. What age group are you looking to hit with this?
Ooh.
I mean, I guess it's tabletop
probably.
RPGs, so I guess it could be whatever age group the DM is comfortable DMing to.
Pretty much. I think it's fairly easy to understand the rules. Like, as long as you have somebody to teach you, it's not super complicated. We use like a D10 system, kind of like World of Darkness. Have you ever seen that one?
I have.
Daniel
Is
likes
that
that one.
No, our resident nerd is here, so
I can
Yeah.
talk game systems with you all you want.
So yeah, you're not doing a ton of addition. There's some multiplication though. That's another thing. One of the things you'll find when you get into combat is that you might deal a certain amount of hits with an attack you're using, but then since this is a very like tactical combat system, each power that you use is going to have a certain amount of damage dealt per hit. So every time you hit with one of the dice that you roll in one of your pools, that one's going to deal that much damage. And then if you roll crits, that usually triggers some other kind of effect with the power too, depending on which one. So there's a lot of room for just a very crunchy mechanical expansion there that I think I like to dabble in.
So whenever you say crunchy, are we talking like everybody has their own HP pools and individual stats, or is it more crunchy than that, or is that about would you say it's about the right level?
Yeah, that's about the correct level of crunch, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm a BattleTech guy, so I'm like extremely
Okay.
Nothing's too crunchy. So
Yeah, I'm
Well,
definitely gonna look at the
It's
mechanics of
probably
this.
not as crunchy as BattleTech.
I should hope not, but
Yeah,
So
me too.
Is this something that I could, and I mean, I potentially, if my children are up to the challenge, is this something that I could get children from the ages of 9 to 11 into? I guess as long as I'm a good DM, I probably could, which I'm not even going to claim to do that.
I wouldn't claim to be that either, but here I am.
There you
I
go.
think you could go pretty young. Like I don't know exactly what kind of level kids that age would be at, but if you hold their hand a bit, I'm sure they could grasp it pretty close. I mean, most tabletop RPGs are basically just your players say they do a thing, and then the DM tells them what to roll, anyways.
Right.
So on the combat and tactical side, that might be a challenge, but you can scale the difficulty to it yourself.
Right. Well, and that would be the thing too, is something I had not experienced literally until this last year was actually sitting down and doing any sort of tabletop. And I mean, if you guys watch the channel, you know I do the tabletop with Black Knight. We do our Star Shatter tabletop, and I'm very, very, very excited for what we'll be doing tomorrow night. Trying not to shill too much because this is your time, but I've been really enjoying it, and it's really, really different because when people are like, the whole game is in your mind. Now, I have the different experience that I've never done it before, and now I'm actually producing a YouTube channel show for this. And so I have to kind of pay attention to different functions while the game is going on. But the ability to produce a story like that in your mind and to see the things in your mind based off of the DM's description and the interactions that you can build. And when people are like, no, tabletop is all in your head. It's all up here. It takes me every session, it takes me a minute to get into it. But once I'm there, like I'm there. Like I wish that schedules were a little bit differently because I would love to go even further as much as I could. When did you first experience that in tabletop? I'm assuming that you've played some other tabletops before, but what was the experience in tabletop that made you go, yes, this is what I enjoy? Do you remember? Do you remember what you were doing? Do you remember how bonkers the campaign was?
Honestly, I don't have a ton of experience actually playing RPGs at a table with people. And most of the time I've been DM teaching people how to play. So I'm mostly been surrounded by rookie role players that barely even know how to roll a die. So
Hey, mine are in the bag. They're right here. Oh, wait, no, that's...
So yeah, that's mostly been my experience is, herding cats and trying to show them that, this is a actual...
It's always herding cats. It doesn't matter if they're experienced or not.
Hey, shut up. Our crew does really, really well if you would watch it when we go live.
I've watched it, and it's still herding cats.
And sometimes it may be easier to herd the inexperienced cats because they don't realize what they can get away with.
Yes.
But sometimes it's usually either telling them that, yes, your actions will have consequences, or you can do this thing that you thought about. It's I don't know where I'm going with that. I lost my train of thought. It
happens, man. It happens.
It happens a lot to me, by the way.
Oh, you're good, dude. So you DM a lot of games, but you don't get to play a lot of games. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride in that situation, it seems.
Once you are a game master, you very rarely get to play. Everybody just wants you to run games.
That's what I've heard.
Especially when they don't even know the rules.
Yep.
That's what I've heard. I've heard some nuts stories from game masters. They're just like, yeah, I did this one. They're like, hey, you want to do the next one? They're like, and I basically never got to play again. And what I've heard from friends of mine is that they'll have other friends who are also game masters. And what they'll do is they will. I've heard because they'll have themselves, and then they'll run for like five or six player tables.
Mm-hmm.
But the other game masters will be some of those players, and then every 2 or however many weeks they'll trade off. And the characters for either the off week will just be like an NPC that the game master has to roll for. But
Lucky.
yeah, but they'll trade. I've heard of that. Not very often. It's not an all the time thing. It's a like, oh, this guy ran a game. He does really good job. We just ended up in a on a table together, and it actually worked out. That I was like, man, I just want to play. And the guy was like, well, why don't tell me what your story is, or like, tell me, give me a game or two. And because obviously being a game master, you can either run through 2 hours of story in the time that you figured, or you can run through 10 hours of story. It just depends on how the players play. And a player's been very lucky doing that, but it doesn't happen very often. I've only heard of it happening a couple of times where the game masters are able to do that, because again, they're always game masters. That's what I've heard is once you're a game master, always a game master. You're just
pretty much.
You don't get to play anymore. Why? Why is that? Talk to me about that.
I had a 10-year span, in my youth where I got to really play on the regular, which is practically every weekend, and it was from being very young and not having responsibilities. But as we started to get older and we all took our turn as game masters, it got to the point where nobody wanted to game master. So anytime we finished a story, it was a random nod it, touch your nose, and whoever was the last one got stuck running the next campaign.
Jeez.
Because nobody wanted to do it. Everybody wants to experience the world. They don't want to be the one that has to, manage it and administrate everything
and do the prep work.
Yep.
I would like to give it a shot one of these days, but
I'm in.
I say that because
I'll be nice to you, I promise.
I'm a songwriter. I like creating the stories. At the same time, too, though, like seeing what in the game that I'm playing now, what Black Knight is doing. Oh my God! Like, because we've talked with him off, in the backstage. You guys know what the backstage is, and we'll get done and we'll sit there and we'll talk. And Black Knight and the things that he has thought of. And but Black Knight's been working on his Star Shatter world for, 15, 20 years at this point. I think 15 years.
Yeah.
He's put a lot of time and thought, recrafted it, written many a story. To the point where when I say, hey, Black Knight, let's throw a poll in the chat of what we should name the ship. He's like, oh, here are the names of the ship. And every one of those names had a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And the chat got to vote on what we named this ship, which, by the way, I have to brag a little bit. Our crew, out of 15 years, our crew is the first crew to ever actually pilot this shuttle. And I was freaking out a little bit in our last session because I'm like, this is a legendary item because, and I say it's a legendary item because the bonuses that the thing provides, I still don't think we know all of them. It's absolutely nuts. But being game master, I don't know. It's something that I look at and I go, but that's really cool because you get to be the guy that can help people along this journey. And also at the same time, murder hobos are like just horrible. Like I have been told by so many people that like, oh, murder hobos. And I'm like, no, you know what's so great? Black Knight flat out said at the start of the camp, before we even did session 0 live on stream, he goes, that's not a thing. You guys are heroes in this story. You're not playing. You're not going to just be bad guys and just go murder a bunch of people. That is out of the question. And that was it, because that's the rule of Black Knight's table. And that is really cool to have that rule in place because you're like, oh, I can't be. But when it comes to pirates who are slavers, who want to sell people to slavery, who canonically my character does not like, you can get really, really gruesome with how you murder those bastards, which is really fun. So that leads me into the question of, as a DM, how do you, I guess, control the characters and get them through your story that you're telling? Because every DM has different rules. Yes, bad guys are allowed. You can be as bad as you want. You can be as good as you want. How do you run it? Like, how hard is it to do that?
Well, like I was saying before, I've mostly been DMing for people who are just learning the rules. So it's me pulling them along more so than anything. Because a lot of them just don't even realize what they could be doing. And also, I'm not super experienced as a DM. So I
New
try not
players are fun.
to lead them in directions that I can't handle. So my
Right.
adventures tended to be very simple, and also with creatures as the system, don't have a lot of content to pull from. So when I have to make stuff up on the fly, I can't just crack open the monster manual and all that and just pull out a random encounter.
Okay, I just thought of something. I'm going to hot potato this in Richard's lap. Richard, you don't have to do this. I'm just, but like, as a way to maybe help a tabletop RPG creator, that could be an interesting prompt. And you could put it out there like, hey, here's the world, write a lore, but I don't know how all that works. It'd be like, you are literally just offering this up as a fun, interesting story for a tabletop RPG creator to use in their world. But I don't understand how all that works.
Well, I've thought about doing things like one-page RPGs with Anvil or something.
Right.
Those are, to be frank, I know about them conceptually, and I've looked at them, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. You know what I mean? But I haven't played very many, so I don't
Gotcha.
know. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where I think we'll do it eventually, but I kind of want to wait until I have a better grasp on the situation.
Right.
But I think that they're, not to hint at anything too much, but I'm hoping that in 2024 we're gonna have some more like longer term projects and challenges and places for people to try and highlight their abilities rather than just doing the weekly short story prompts. Because I mean, part of the purpose with the short story prompts is you've got 2 weeks, you got to turn it around. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it done, kind of
Right.
thing. And I mean, Dicebag even
It's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, and he even sent in a. I mean, mind you, it was already kind of in line with one of his characters, but he submitted a image prompt, and I appreciate that, and I want to try and engage with people more. But yeah, there's so many creatives out there that are doing things that don't fit into that kind of rapid fire succession. So it might be, like a monthly type thing or whatever else. But yeah, there's a lot of room for all sorts of fun stuff, to be done.
All right. So,
Oh boy.
can you just not? Well, no.
He's got that
because-
gleam in his eye.
He's winding up.
Okay. So I had this thought. What if a tabletop creator made a prompt for you? So you didn't have to make the prompt. All you had to do was post it. And the tabletop creator could give the setting and say, as a tabletop creator, I'm looking to fill out this town in my world. And here is the setting. The characters walk up to this town and they give a brief description. And then you basically have people who have to rapid fire create characters or conversations or places, right, in that town And then obviously, and then the tabletop creator can, announce a winner and something. But that could be a really cool way for the community to get involved. Maybe I just need to build my own fucking website is what I need to do. I just don't have the time. But I don't know. I like the community involvement with a lot of stuff like this because tabletop feels inherently community driven to me.
Yes, agreed.
And from what I'm to understand from the GMs that I've talked to, the best instances that they've had is when they actually took inspiration from NPCs from like their players. Where they're like, what if we had an NPC like this? What if we had an NPC like that? What if the town was like this? And the GMs are like, and they were able to craft their world from that. Like that always seems to be just a really fun concept to me.
I have
Something to be good at.
definitely been thinking a lot about trying to engage people more with the storytelling side of creatures recently, but I'm not exactly sure how to do that. Like I'm a massive introvert, so social media and all that ain't my forte all the time. So if just as a general call out, if people in the audience or you guys here want to get involved in this in some way, I am open, wide open to ideas. And I want to see people's characters, what kind of creatures they want to pick up, adventures that they might send people on. That's what I want to see out of people. I want to build that community, even if it's not directly playing the game right now.
All right. So, and you can't tell
Do
my
that.
daughter this because my daughter will murder me. But it's creatures. And the lot pulling from my personal life. A lot of significance here. But a wolf who does well in the shadows, but when it's in the moonlight, and there's a very specific reason I say that. My wife, my nickname for her, my pet name for her, because everybody has cute little pet names. My pet name for my wife is I've always called her my moonlight, because in my darkest moment, she lights up the darkest places of my life. So for me, it would be a wolf who could lurk around the shadows, but when touched by the moonlight, gains abilities more than what he had. Because that's how that's a creature in my mind, in your world, that like I think could be a thing. I could also be wrong, because like the wolf could also step on Snicky, and you're not supposed to step on Snicky.
You don't step on Snicky because it's poisonous, by the way.
I know. I am aware. Oh no, I saw you say that. I love
it. Sounds like you're describing a celestial creature.
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know your world, good sir. Describe.
Yeah. So in the conversion between Pokemon and creatures, we had to do some rejiggering of the types because some of them don't always make sense. One of those being the addition of the celestial type. And this is very themed after like the stars and the heavenly bodies and things along those lines, and also just like general heavenly things, that kind of theming.
Right.
So these guys are all about, star beams and whatnot. They got halos, stuff like that. Actually, in that piece that you showed, the time lapse, that is a celestial creature.
Okay.
So that's one of the things we got. We also got some things from pulled almost straight from like D&D. We got construct creatures for one. So those are synthetic. You can actually build them when I actually get to making those rules. And we also have aberrant creatures. So like the weirdo beholders and stuff like that. We've got creatures that are modeled after those. And I think that's all I changed off the top of my head. Of course, we reflavored psychic to psionic, just because. And yeah, everything else is pretty much similar. Oh yeah, undead. Undead is a type. Because what's a ghost? They got so
Yeah.
many ghost Pokemon in Pokemon, and it's like half of these are corporeal. So
Right.
we just go with undead. We take dark, we take ghost, we smash them together. We got undead.
There you go.
So yeah, lots of streamlining there. But yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
excuse me.
You got some?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I'm gonna kill the flies. I can't wait till wintertime and
Oh.
the flies all die. I'm so sick of the flies.
So with this, let's see here. You had your, I was gonna say with the World Anvil that you had up. Now
Right.
that obviously has, is that a fairly complete look at your creatures that are like, basically what I'm saying is, do you feel like that's a good starting amount where you're at? Or are you still adding more, or what stage are you in that regard?
Oh, I've got a lot more to add.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a ton. Like the lore and the world building is like where most of my effort is going to be going
Hmm.
from here on out. I got to make descriptions of the creatures, and I got to make some towns for that first area. One of the things I want to do with the first initial releases is to have like a setting guide that just lays out like a main town and like the outlying villages, and then the areas beyond that with a bunch of NPCs you can interact with, all the creatures and where they nest,
Hmm.
um, and then some antagonist factions that you might run into. So your Team Rockets and whatnot.
Interesting. So, is this in terms of style and theme? Is this a very kid friendly kind of world, or is it more of a like are there more dark forces at work and more um, what's kind of the targeted age, shall we say?
It's meant to be kid friendly. Yeah, you
Hmm.
can definitely take it more serious. It's like
Hmm.
I would say that it's kid friendly but high stakes. So if you go into the wild, uh, there's a good chance you're going to get eaten by creatures if you don't know what you're doing. So it's a dangerous world, is what we're going for, and that's something I want to drive home. So these things are not friendly to you if you just go out in the woods and start playing with them.
Gotcha. So, I mean, okay. Here's a question: Does everybody just faint and go back to the creature center, or or can players actually lose their little various creature friends?
Oh, now we're getting into the real questions.
Yep.
This,
Yes.
yeah, this touches on all the problems with the Pokemon world, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you take a look at the Pokemon world from the perspective of trying to make a tabletop RPG, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's a lot of stuff I had to rework. One of those things is taking basically the entire system of catching and commanding the creatures, and removing the whole sci-fi stuff, ripping that right out, and imposing fantasy onto that. So
Hmm.
that's where the magic system of conjuring has come in, and that's where a lot of those answers are had. So no, you won't go back to the Pokemon Center or whatever. What you do, oh man, now we get into the deep lore. All right, because this, yeah, okay, Daniel's all here for it. All right.
Always.
So when we're dealing with this, we have to take out Pokeballs for one thing. We replace the Pokeballs with binding crystals, which are a magic
Okay.
item, obviously. Now,
Mhm.
when you use a binding crystal to bind the creature, what happens is that it basically takes its corporeal form and sucks it up into the crystal, while the spirit of the creature goes into what's called the conjurer's astral pocket. So the astral pocket is basically a little pocket plane on the astral plane that each conjurer carves out for themselves. So each conjurer has to learn to become lucid dreamers, because in the dream world, that's where you carve out this whole astral pocket, and you can go there to train and deal with your creatures on your terms there. So if your creatures get knocked out, they get reduced to 0 hit points. They suck back up into the crystal, return to your astral pocket. From there, you can then use meditation to enter your astral pocket while you're awake, and from there you'll be able to heal them through magical means and basically refill their hit points. So you won't be losing creatures if they die. But there is another system in place that they will get mad at you if you just let them die constantly. So they're not just brainless pets. You're gonna have to treat them well.
Interesting.
You mentioned a training system, so I'm curious.
Yeah,
now.
that's adjacent to what I was going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
You can give a brief overview. I'm just curious.
the thing is, I'm just trying to figure out where to start. So most of the pretty much all of the advancement in creatures is done with not through gaining levels, but rather than spending experience to buy abilities. So that's where you're going to be getting your new abilities for your creatures. Each creature actually is made up of 3 distinct classes. Each of those classes has 5 levels. So when you'll spend your experience, that's when you get to rank up the classes. And then there's also a system I'd made, because once you get so many creatures, it's kind of redundant to keep doing that for every single one. So I decided it'd be best if you could simply have your creatures train each other while they're in the astral pocket. So while you're sleeping, you can have them do that and basically bring each other up to speed within the class that they're trained in.
So whenever they, I'm sorry, I just blanked on the term that you used, but they not necessarily level up, but they, I think you said class up or rank up. Is that similar to kind of like the evolution? Are we going to be seeing different kinds of creatures, develop from other ones? Is that something that you've also adopted?
Yeah. Those function on a separate thing. So the classes are mostly define your move sets and your combat abilities of your creatures. There'll also be the ability to evolve your creatures like Pokemon. We call it metamorphosis. And this will be done through consumption of resources. So okay, here we're getting into some more conversions from Pokemon to creatures. One of the things I had to deal with is the mechanic of how you can't catch a Pokemon after it's been reduced to 0 hit points. Yeah, we all know that doesn't make any sense. But it's a good game mechanic, because it forces you to you can't just knock it out and then take it home with you. It'd be too easy. But I wanted to keep that in the game. And it wouldn't make sense if you just, in a TTRPG, you could just drag it home with you after you knock it out. So I've gone and made another rule change with the way the world works. So creatures are very highly unstable. So when they're reduced to 0 hit points, they basically dissolve into goo. And this stuff can be used to
like smoothie type goo, or like
well, it kind of
wait, are you about to say that if you kill a creature you can feed the goo to other creatures?
You're like it's like a Slurpee?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So creatures dissolve into essence, and each of the harvesting the essence is how you these are the resources you use for morphing your creatures. and also for creating magic items. Because one of the things I wanted to make sure is that the focus of like the abilities and the actual magic in the world is focused on the creatures themselves. And so I kind of had to nerf things from like the typical idea of like a wizard throwing fireballs around, right? So all the magic that humans are able to do is basically done through magic items of some kind or another. So
Interesting.
where was I going with this initially?
I don't know, dude.
I was
yeah.
talking about
I'm still on
Yeah.
feeding creature goo to other creatures.
It all started with Richard being curious about evolutions.
Right. The metamorphosis. Well, I guess I answered that question, didn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah. Harvesting essence from other creatures is how you morph.
I like that
creatures.
euphemism, harvesting essence.
Yeah,
It's,
harvesting ever.
that's some
It's-
PETA approved terminology there. You just it's not you don't shove your green Bambi into the blender and make a wheatgrass shot.
You do. You're
you
making
harvest
do
their essence.
smoothie.
But
oh god.
now if you trim their fur, that can give you essence too. So it's not necessarily just smashing them up or killing them.
Okay.
So if you've
All
got
right.
if
I was
you've
gonna say
got
this took a
guys
dark
with
turn.
you,
We're still
Well-
in the realm of PETA conflict, though.
yeah,
Yeah, well, they're just never happy.
Yeah.
essence from dead creatures is mostly what you're going to be getting when you fight them out in the wild, which is a pretty common occurrence.
That I like
But if
it.
you want to shave your creature,
Okay.
you can.
Okay, so if anybody played Pokemon Go,
That's a totally different direction than
if anybody played Pokemon Go, you guys know you take your
he's just
Pokemon and you
powering through
sacrifice them
Pokemon
into
Go
candies.
holes.
And when you sacrifice them into candies,
Yeah, that's
you-
true. I forgot you could do
and
that.
then you feed the candies to a Pokemon to evolve it
Yeah.
and get it up to a certain level, like it's there. I love this though because it makes sense. It's
Yeah.
like
One of the biggest obstacles
And
I've had
it's
to deal
fun.
with is trying to make sense of the Pokemon mechanics without breaking the world building. Because
Right.
Pokemon is made to be a video game. The world is made to be a video game. And you can't just break the rules in a video game. You can't just go and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to take all 100 of my Pokemon and stuff them in a bag and take them on the adventure with me. They don't let you do it. But you could do that if it was a tabletop RPG. So that's a big thing I had to deal with, which, by the
And
way,
you had a dimensional
it-
pocket.
the astral pocket, exactly, and attunement. Attunement is a skill you'll have to learn, which defines how many creatures you can have like at the ready in any given time, and that maxes out at 4. So you'll start out with 1. If you get better and better, then you'll be able to have more than 1, up
So-
to 4.
okay. So let's say you get into a battle. Do you choose your lineup of creatures prior to or after the battle? It's like because I'm assuming that you have to. Hold on a second. Stupid flies. You have to roll for initiative. Do you? It's like you see this creature. Does the DM go like you see this creature? He seems to be a fiery creature from the abyss. I'm just random here. It's like, okay, select your creatures and roll for initiative, or is it just how do you do that? Do you? Let's say you have 100 of them. When do you select your creatures for the battle? Do you select the same creatures all the time? Are you locked in? Like how does that all work? Like you got the astral pocket. Do you literally just depending on the battle pick who you want to?
No, we're limited in more than that. That would be kind of crazy, honestly.
But that's because I have the question and it's a legit question. That's not me being a host. That's me going, okay, my brain can't compute this certain thing. So how is it that you choose your creatures per battle or in battle or swap them out, or how is that how does all of that work?
All right. So the main thing is when you select your team, basically, we're going with like the D&D memorization of spells kind of route. So this is going to be
Gotcha.
like on a per day basis. You'll have to clear your mind with a rest before you can change your team. So whatever you
The
start with,
meditation.
right? Whatever you decide you're going to attune at the beginning of the day, and when you wake up, that's going to be what you're stuck with for a while.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then
Interesting.
when you get into a battle, you'll have to physically summon them. And having one, I've decided is fine, no resources expended. When you start to add in like additional creatures being summoned at the same time, I'm adding in penalties and resource um, usage of resources. So we have mana and stamina as your main resources. And of course, if you have one creature out, you try to summon a second one, that's going to cost you a mana. And mana is not super plentiful, so you got to be judicial with it.
Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Why? Okay, so fairly resource heavy. Or yeah, fairly resource management heavy, I should say.
Yeah.
Well, from what it sounds like, there's an element of player character involvement as well. It's not just throwing animals at things.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
so that resource drain of summoning more than one of these creatures at a time would impact your player character's ability to defend themselves, complete objectives, etc. during any given situation, which is, really smart.
Oh, yeah, your characters are going to be in battle with them, swinging swords and everything. That's one of the things I wanted to differentiate with Pokemon. I initially tried to do it so it was just the creatures fighting, but that got really boring when the players' turns came around.
Right.
So that
Sure,
was a lesson I
understandable.
learned really quick.
So what happens if the player character dies?
Well, if you get reduced to 0 hit points, you suffer an injury. And, well, if nobody else is around to save you, then you're probably going to get eaten by wild creatures no matter what. So,
Oh shit. And you become the goo.
What?
yeah, then
Yeah,
you become the goo.
and then what happens to the creatures? Do they like return or become essence? Like they're already stored. If you're ganked without having one out, what happens to the creatures then? It's just
Okay.
a mild like aesthetic curiosity because I'm a gamer nerd.
All right. Uh, deep magic system lore we're getting into. I've actually
Yeah,
thought about this. So,
I
yeah,
figured you would have.
if the
Good.
conjurer dies, the creatures are basically just homeless on the astral plane. Now, if somebody comes along and finds the crystals that they're bound to, they can go through a process, which I actually had rules made up for,
Nice.
to basically impose their own bond on those creatures and bring them into their own astral pocket. So that's a whole process you'll have to go through and skill rolls you'll have to make. And that's something else you'll be able to. A lot of the stuff I'm
The
trying to do
horrible
with
gamer
them.
in me is now dreaming up a vampiric conjurer who just steals
Or-
other people's shit.
Yes. There's definitely a lot of cruel things you could try to do to players with the systems I'm making. But yeah, a lot of this
That's
stuff is just born out of what if. Me thinking, sitting there at my job thinking, what if? So
Yep.
lots of questions are answered, but I haven't been able to implement all of them.
Have you, as far as like running games with this, have you do you run public games anywhere where people could jump on and try out the system with you?
I don't really have time to run games a whole lot. I
Mhm.
did a while back with some of my family,
Okay.
cousins and sister. Let's see. Yeah, I spend a lot of time just at work. We work like 10-hour shifts on night shift, so it's kind of
Mm.
draining. And I don't really
Mhm.
have time to, make up all the stuff for campaigns and whatnot these days. So even
Yeah.
more reason why I want to get a community out there to kind of come in and try things out themselves. But I do have like a beginner adventure module that I wrote up. This right now it's just for the newsletter. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get the adventure module as in a link. It's like a PDF, I think, and that's got all the rules you need to play. It's got a handful of creatures that are in the adventure, and then like just a real basic like go out into the woods and find some creatures to hunt down, and you have to exterminate them. That kind of adventure, just to get
Mhm.
you into it. Oh, and pre-made characters, of course. I don't think it
Very
includes
cool.
character creation, but that is on the wiki, by the way. You can make your own characters.
There you go.
Just throwing that out there.
So everything you need to do, or everything you need to play, is out there already. Um, it's just a matter of finding a group to play with and building a community. That's pretty cool. So do you have plans for, uh, after you get the lore built out? Or are you planning on trying to, um, make like a physical release, or is that even something that's on the horizon?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in the market for a physical release. I do have the printer that I used for my card game that I released a
Mhm.
while back. That they also do books. I'm not entirely sure if they're up to snuff, but I'm kind of building with the idea of fitting things into their size limits and all that because they do on demand printing. So I
Mhm.
don't necessarily have to do specific orders and all that. People can just order it all when they feel like it. But of course, we can do crowdfunding or something like that when it gets ready. And the idea behind it is basically we're going to have the kind of 3-book idea that D&D does because I don't think I'll be able to fit this all into one single book. So the first one is going to be like the rules and the character creation and all that. And then we're going to have the creature codex, which has the main bulk of the creatures in it,
Mhm.
and then all the classes for them, which is probably going to. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to fit all that into their size limits, but we'll see. But third book would be the setting guide, so that will have all the settlements and the characters that you'll run into and the enemies and also mythic creatures, which is kind of a big thing in this setting. So
Mhm.
I
Very
want the wolf I
cool.
described earlier to be a mythic creature, whatever that is. It's gonna be awesome.
This
There's-
entire thing has just been a ploy for Royce to get his custom creature added to the game.
Twould
Yeah, he
be
just
a
wants his
white. Well,
lunar wolf.
all right. So my told you
third
the
party
pet,
content.
Yeah.
my pet name from my wife is the white wolf, and reason being is because if she is the moonlight, then the moon needs something to keep her company,
I'm
and the
just
wolf is what howls at the moon.
I'm just
So
waiting to find out about the fursuit, Royce, at this point.
okay, no, that's fucking
I'm
weird shit,
wondering.
dude. We're all talking metaphors and shit. Oh my
No.
god. No. No. Oh no.
I'm
No,
wondering
no.
if this is some sort of sucking up moment that he's doing to save himself from.
No, I am incredibly tired. I am incredibly tired and the brain is malfunctioning. And it's just like, hey,
Goat wolf. There you go.
no, we're not doing a goddamn goat wolf.
We do have some
Transform-
goats in the
It
game.
transforms
Darkish.
into a
Oh,
goat.
there are goats in the game.
Darkish, I hate
Yeah.
you.
So it's a wolf in the shadows, but when struck by moonlight, it transforms into a goat until a certain
That's
set
not
of
even a thing. That's
things
not
are
even-
done, and then it
It's got
evolves.
like
into
the
something
front
better.
half is a wolf. It's got like the
I
want to
see a
wolf head,
werewolf wolf now.
but like goat eyes. You know,
I want to see somebody art.
Those dead eyes.
yeah, little creepy demonic eyes. Yeah,
You guys suck. Um.
Yes.
Oh no.
Could
Oh,
be
I
a
see
goat leopard
Raving
wolf.
Dad Gaming is asking, you automatically start with a creature? Do you have to go out and catch one? It's kind of assumed that you're starting out with your first creature, but I mean, you can kind of start it out as you feel like it. You know, it's very customizable. Whatever you want to do. Nobody's telling you have to meet in an inn or something.
Although that is the most common practice. No.
As long as it's not an electric guinea pig, we're all good.
Sir.
We have electric jackalopes.
Electric
That'll do.
jackalopes.
there you go.
No, RH, no goat wolf. Oh God.
Goat leopard
wow.
wolf.
No. God damn.
I think it was actually a bobcat, according to
Nope.
your wife. I think
Nope,
you might have been
we're not doing that.
exaggerating.
Nope.
I'm just referencing the rant. We got to come up with some sort of cool name for
I
it.
hate you
Like
all. I hate
Gleo.
you all.
You left the door open
Gleolf.
for too long.
Yeah,
And
there
now
you
the
go.
mischief
Gleo.
has begun.
The goat leopard wolf.
I kind of want to see that as a drawing. Like, how the fuck would you do a goat leopard wolf? Like, what body parts are where? Like, the wolf is like, I feel like it's got to have like the wolf legs. It has to have like the goat chest because ghosts are hardy.
Wolf tail, leopard body, goat head. Yes.
Why do you guys do this to me? Why do you do
Because
this
the
to our
goat head will
guests?
give you nightmares. It's like a chimera.
I hate
chimera,
all of you.
whatever
I
the
hate
fuck
all of
you
you
wanna
so
call it.
much. You're all.
I'm
you're
drunk
all
and
terrible.
derailing this whole thing, so it's all good.
Well, we're derailing pretty hard compared to how we normally do. Although we made it to the hour and a half mark.
I'm just gonna start.
I'm just
making up
looking for my
animals.
goat leopard.
No, I'm not. God damn it. No.
Hey,
Here's
It's
my problem. Here's my
Yolf.
problem. Dicebag, please, I beg of you. Don't join the Gilded at this point. Are you in the Gilded?
I am not.
Okay, good. Don't join the Gilded. Because my problem is that if you join the Gilded, you son of a bitch. You'll get infected by the people that are in the Gilded. And then horrible things will happen. And then just to meme me, you will create something in your game to meme me. Don't join the Gilded. Just don't do it. Just don't.
Join the Gilded. Become one of us.
Don't join the Gilded.
I don't know.
Yes.
You did say there was a lot of networking opportunities on there.
yeah, it's a great place to.
Is that something with a snake? There you go.
Where's Snicky? You gotta have Snicky.
Snicky is the third one of this trio.
Let's solo that real quick. Snicky. Snicky! Oh my god.
There we go.
Snicky is poison. Don't step on Snicky. Don't step on Snicky. That's really cool.
It's the menagerie of
Let's
Dicebag.
get rid of these.
No, dude, I love the concept of what you're doing because it feels the idea of merging, a Dungeons and Dragons game with Pokemon seems like it should have been something that was popularized, especially when we were kids. And I don't feel that I know that it quite took off.
Yeah, one of the things I ran into when I first started doing this is I got on the internet because I haven't heard of anything like this, and I went looking for inspiration, and there was basically nothing. So I had to make everything up myself practically, just wing it. But I think now there's kind of a fan system for a Pokemon RPG coming out that people are working on.
Yeah,
But
there's also a ton of ROM hacks and whatnot that I know that's one of the things that a lot of people have messed around with. But those have all been video games, obviously,
yeah,
that are still mostly based in the original, the original ROM, basically. So
mhm.
very different.
Yeah, there's definitely a big difference between that with the whole idea of the video game mechanics versus the tabletop game mechanics and all that, and the world building that goes into it. Because, like I said, the Pokemon world don't make sense.
Yeah, well,
Not at all. It's one of those things you start thinking about it too much, and you're just like, I was listening to Literature Devil today, and he was like, yeah, just talking about like anime characters and ages and all that, and they're like, yeah, they talked about like Brock, like he was this old man, and like he was 15. Yeah, the Pokemon world makes no sense.
And for some reason, all the dangerous criminal gangs just obey the rules of the sports league.
Yeah, because yeah, and they're also only 15 as well.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I watched the original series with my kids a while ago, and I was like, "Oh man, there are guns in Pokemon." There's like guns and tanks and all these other things, and I'm just like,
Not these days.
yeah, not now, but in the original one, it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. They are shooting guns at everybody and things like that. It's very nonsensical.
My buddy, so I was talking with my buddy about the Pokemon craze back in the day and like the video games that everybody had. So like I didn't have the ability to get the original games, right? I didn't have what was it, red, blue, and green, and then obviously they released the yellow one because everybody was like, we want Pikachu to follow us around. So but I didn't have any of those games because money. The first Pokemon game that I'd ever had was Pokemon Gold. And I saved up money. I mowed lawns and stuff like that because my parents couldn't get me like, a Game Boy Advance and stuff like that when I was a kid. And those things were still expensive as hell. I mean, it was like $30 for a game plus $120 or something, like whatever. I was telling my buddy, I was like, man, I just like, everybody always talks about Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charizard, whatever the fuck those ones are. And they always talk about those ones. I'm like, man, I don't connect with those Pokemon the way that everybody else does. And I'm like, I always connected with Cyndaquil, Totodile, and oh god, what was it?
The little grass
Chikorita.
Chikorita, thank you. Yeah, Chikorita. And my buddy's like, dude, you're like a fucking hipster. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, the popular thing you just don't choose. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Like, I'm sorry I wasn't a rich kid and I could go out and just buy all the fucking Pokemon games. Because, like, the only Pokemon game that I had when I was a kid was Pokemon Gold. So I actually always liked the second gen ones versus the first gen ones. So Pokemon Johto, I actually liked that series more because while that was airing, I had Pokemon Gold. And I was playing Pokemon Gold and had those Pokemon and all that. And my buddy called me a fucking hipster, that bastard. I hate him.
Well, that actually brings up a question that I have. Oh, I was going to say, go ahead. I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was kind of in the same boat. I didn't have the original games early on, but I did have a PC and I knew how emulators worked.
I did not.
I was
I didn't know
I
what an
was a
emulator was
hipster,
until
though.
like 2 years ago.
I picked Bulbasaur because I was like, oh, everybody's gonna pick the fire one. Oh,
Still my favorite is Cyndaquil, and then God, I cannot remember what his evolutions are, but no, my favorite's still Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil is my boy.
The only Pokemon that matters is Snorlax.
I don't know what to say to that, sir, but I feel like it's wrong.
It
it is
sleeps
definitely wrong.
and then it's woken up and it does amazing shit and then it goes back to sleep. What more can you want?
Yeah, but it doesn't battle for half the battle.
Well, wait, hold on. Let's talk about our dear guests, creatures here. What
Yes.
we started talking about starter Pokemon, right? Is there a similar kind of like set of starter creatures that you would choose from, or is it kind of like anything that's in the very like lowest tier, shall we say, is fair game?
Yeah, there's definitely
Good
like
question.
a couple recommended batches
Mhm.
that have like the rock paper scissors thing going on, but like as far as what people do at their table, you can justify pretty much anything. Not something I try to dictate because I feel like people should really get into that on their own and make it for their own characters. But we do have kind of two batches. Shall I bring them up on the screen? I guess
You
we
are
could
more
show
than
them all.
welcome
Sure.
to. Yes, I would love that.
All right, let me
Distract us
find-
so we don't go off the rails again.
Let's distract you with cute animals. If I can find them. Oh man, there's so many.
Works
You're gonna
for
make
me.
the white women all just. I just ranted about white women in my short that I released tonight because
Yes, Rice has got white women on the brain tonight.
they make dumb decisions. I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing.
Little fire
All right, here
totem
we
dude.
go. Where is the other one?
That's legit. I like the little fire totem dude. That's legit.
Little like Tiki Man type thing.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the names of them. Oh, there it is. All right.
What is that?
Lizard.
So here we have Torkish, Lousy,
Okay,
and
Lousy's a
then
good name.
this little guy.
Yes.
This is Glubble.
A
Ah, okay.
slime.
So these are kind of like the default assumed ones. The
Mhm.
lore is actually that the
Now I
archmage
wanna-
that trains conjurers in the area that's kind of the default place that I'm setting up. These are from one of his expeditions that he brought back. So he's kind of like your Professor Oak type of character. But we've also got some that are like more local based. Let's see.
I want a
Let's
super
get-
involved slime. Like the most powerful slime that you can make.
Let's get these guys off and put the next ones on.
Next ones. Let's see. I'm not sold yet. You haven't shown me one that so far Snicky is my favorite, but
All right.
Well,
So these are the
What
guys
the
you would
hell?
find locally around the area. This is Arbo.
that is a squirrely type thing.
That is a squirrel. Let's see. All right, here we go.
Oh, a kitty.
and
A
the white
kitty.
women all just made their decision.
Yep.
Yeah, there's Psychit. And we have
That's actually a good name. Psychit's a good name.
Psionic cat.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great freaking name.
I've been told that my naming conventions are pretty good.
I am being told in the chat that there are still no goats.
There are no goats among this batch. No.
Ooh. I like the devil
he's-
chicken.
I
Yeah.
also like the devil chicken.
So these three form kind of their own trio of rock, paper, scissors, like you would see in the Pokemon games, but they are the martial, psionic, and undead types.
Interesting.
So those are kind of the suggested starters that DMs would give out.
I'd definitely go for a slime and a devil chicken.
What would be a non-suggested starter that the DMs would give out? Predominantly because I just want to see more of your creatures. Because like this is really cool to see. That like this is.
You probably wouldn't want to start with this here guy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hold up.
Uh-oh.
This is a big one.
That's
Oh, God.
huge.
Uh-oh. Holy
Hey,
crap, it's still that
No,
big.
I want that.
That's
Yes!
legit.
I want that. Can
What
I have
is
that?
it? That's a starter. Can you start with him?
No, that's not a starter. You asked it for
Damn
ones
it!
that I wouldn't suggest. This is a mythic creature.
I just want that in my backyard so I can feed it neighbors.
Right?
The mythic creatures are actually very involved in the whole setting. With mythic creatures, I wanted to have something that was like the legendaries, but worked with the fantasy flavor. And one of the things I came up with is kind
Love
of to
that.
take the whole idea of kind of like the divine right of kings to rule, and combine it with like the Shinto style idea of like landmarks and areas and regions just having like their own like god that rules over them. So
Mhm.
that's how mythic creatures kind of came into being.
That is
So
legit.
Regional
If you-
guardian spirits.
if a conjurer binds a mythic creature like this, then they basically have a metaphysical claim to the land that it claims as its own. So that's how you get the nobility in the creatures world. They're all
Right on.
very powerful conjurers that have a mythic creature.
I'm assuming that's not an easy task to complete.
Probably not.
It's not supposed to. No, these guys, they also have their own little minions that they spawn out. Like the ones I mentioned earlier with Snicky and the goat ones.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that he spawns here.
I want a Snicky.
Well, you're
Only-
going to have to join the barbarian clan then.
I'm
Ah.
gonna join shit. I'm gonna get a Snicky the way they want to get a Snicky.
But yeah, one of the things that the nobility will do is they'll form these organizations that are basically loyal to them, and one of those ways that they enforce that loyalty is giving them one of the mythic creatures, agent creatures. So when that gets into their astral pocket, there's a whole lot of mythical connections and all that kind of enforce their loyalty. So agent creatures will turn against their conjurers if they ever start fighting with the noble conjurer that gave it to them. So their loyalty to their mythic creature supersedes anything to their actual conjurer.
Interesting.
It's very interesting.
It's a lot of fun to work with that system, I've found. And then, of course, there's a bunch of wild mythic creatures out there. So end of the campaign is going to probably involve your guys hunting down their own mythic creatures and setting up their own kingdoms. At least that's the intention.
Interesting.
That sounds legit. I am so down with that.
Kingdom of the Great Slime.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Well, I will say this. I know a few of us are fading quickly because we're terrible hosts. And we wake up early in the morning. But what would you like to say? We go over to the chat section. We talk with the chat for a little bit about your game and read some of the super chats and then just some of the regular chats that have come in. about your game and answer those questions for a few. The first one that I have here from Raving Dead Gaming. Okay, this isn't a chat for you. We're degenerates, chat. Says the sleeping puncher. Okay, we're not.
New lore unlocked.
I had my wife on Comic Shop Wednesday. I should not have done that.
Mm.
Yeah. Eric Grant became a new member of the YouTube channel. Thank you, sir. Darkest Multiverse for $5 says, I highly suggest checking out the Pokemon TTRPG. It might help some mechanically.
That's what we were
Yeah,
talking
I've
about.
seen that recently, but I haven't really looked into it. Again, it wasn't around as far as I could tell when I started making this thing.
Right. Raving. Now, these are not super chats. These next couple. Raving Dad Gaming says, can you get attacked and defeated before you can summon one of your creatures?
I mean, if the DM wants to be that cruel, I guess that's possible. But, it just
Lends
takes
credence
one
to
action
my-
to summon a creature.
Lends credence to my steely concept.
Right. Okay, this
Yeah,
next one's going to be...
There's
Oh, go
actually quite a few mechanics that kind of lead up to killing a character. So I generally don't think it's good to just hinge it on what single dice roll or something. So we have a lot of resources that you'll have to deplete, and then there's the injury system. And basically, once you run through all your injuries, that's when you have to worry about dying. But just getting knocked out in combat is not a huge deal, as long as your party wins. They can patch you up and get you back on your feet. But yeah, if everybody goes down, well, then goodbye.
Yeah.
You're lunch for the creatures.
Yes.
Oh god.
Dude smoothies for everyone.
Dude smoothies. That's not say that again. That was bad phrasing. That's wow. That's I never wanted to think of that term in my mind ever again. That was oh god. Okay, so I have to figure out exactly how the hell I'm going to read this next chat that I saved. And if I do
Usually
it
you do
right,
it with
it will
your
be
eyes
epic,
and
but I'm most likely going to do it wrong. But I'm supposedly supposed to say it in the framing of the Beastie Boys. And I believe it's No Sleep Till Brooklyn, but this is...
So now we're getting voice prep.
Oh God, let's see if I can do this. No! Step on Snicky! And that would be no sleep till Brooklyn, but it's no step on Snicky. Oh God, Evelyn Music, why do you do that to me?
Well done.
That would have been a lot better if I was awake. RH Snow for $1.99. It says Goat Wolf for life. No, God damn it.
Yes. Gleolf. Goat leopard wolf.
Dicebag, if you listen to the chat at all in any way, I denounce you wholeheartedly.
Hey.
I don't.
He opened the format to community-driven creations.
Yeah,
so at the
third-party
very
content.
least, I am going to make a goat leopard wolf, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I hate all of you. I hate all of you so much.
It would make a perfect beast creature.
It probably would. I just want like the moon. Never mind. All right. Fine. Skunk's Workshop for $2. Love your streams, Dicebag. Koeth is goated. God damn it.
The goat puns continue.
Why? For fucking why? Jake Miller.
Because you haven't bought one yet.
I'm not buying a goat. I'm buying a lamb so that way we can raise the lamb and then we will pet the lambs, and then I will kill the lambs, and then gut it, and then
Puns
quarter
will
it.
continue until the goat is on the roof.
I mean, you could say whatever you want there, man, but I don't think the goat thing is going to end until you you know.
Yeah, at this point, I'm gonna buy a goat just so I can slaughter it and post it in the Gilded, and so everybody go, "Oh my god!" Which
At
actually do
that
wonder
point, fine.
I actually wonder what goat meat would taste like. I've never had goat.
Oh, really?
It's a good experiment.
Have you ever had goat?
I mean, it's fine. It's just the problem is that it's always in Indian dishes when I have it, where they don't take out all the bones, so it's kind of a pain. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. I have no objections to it. It's just a hassle.
If
That's my main issue.
If I did it, I would probably do. If I did slaughter a goat, it would most likely be like goat breast. I'd probably smoke it or something like that, or try to smoke it. I have no idea. Something of that nature. Maybe hind quarter. You get the shanks, the legs, things like that. I mean, I don't feel it would be terribly different than lamb, but I don't know because I've never had goat.
I definitely think lamb's better.
Oh, dude, lamb is my favorite meat on the planet. Then lamb
you should be an easy transition into trying out goat.
Oh, I would.
From what I've heard, it's just tougher.
Is that what it is? It's just tougher.
Yeah, lamb's preferable because it's more tender.
Yeah. No, my wife and I as long as everything works out financially, we will be raising a lamb, possibly 2, in the next year, and then we'll be, slaughtering those because lamb is my favorite freaking thing to eat, bar none. Like, lamb is my top, like, best meat on the planet. I would eat that every day. Bison is a close second. Like,
Bison's delicious.
Oh, dude, bison is incredible. Like bison, bison burgers and lamb burgers. We prepared both of them in the same day, and it was literally like that was the day that I fell in love with lamb meat because I was like, bison's good. Bison is very good, but there is a flavor you get from lamb that's just it's killer. Sorry. Apparently I'm hungry. Why do you guys do this to our guests? We were talking about creatures.
Because meat is murder, and murder is damn tasty.
Yes.
Dicebag, I'm so sorry.
You can't eat meat if they turn into goo. Unless you want to get poisoned.
Beast smoothies.
Okay. That begs the question. Can you eat a creature?
If you want to eat creature essence, be prepared to take some injuries. But I recognize that's an oddity of the setting, and so far be it from
how does that work?
So what is the meat of the world? Are there regular animals?
All right, more deep lore. So
the deep magic.
The history of the creatures world, I'm kind of thinking along the lines of it's like very distant, almost post-apocalyptic future of what we have now. And in this place, the animals have basically diverged along 2 paths. We've got the creatures, which have been mutated into these super powerful things with magic. And then you got the rest of them that all basically devolve to the point where they're not much more intelligent than jellyfish. So in addition to the creatures, there's going to be a lot of little devolved types of things roaming around. So they're basically just slugs of meat with animal features. So you'll be seeing these raised and slaughtered on farms and stuff. That's how they would get their meat. I had to
So the cool creatures become jello. The dumb creatures become meat. Got it.
Yeah.
What if I would? Never mind. I'm not going to ask that question.
There's a lot of weird
No epic
plans
gourmand
and-
for you, Royce.
I just but I feel like there would be an interesting either, and it depends on how you roll. It could be either a negative or a positive depending on how you roll. But you find a mythical creature, and you kill it, and you before it turns into the goo or whatever, you harvest the meat, and then you eat it, and then you get to roll to find out if you're cursed or blessed or whatever.
You would be sick.
I'm aware,
Yeah.
but I'm just
Look,
Like
I'm
I
just
said-
saying. I know nobody wants to eat their Pikachu, so we took
I
that off the
fucking
table.
would. I absolutely fucking would eat a Pikachu. I didn't give a shit. Everybody's like, oh,
I
it's an
fucking hate
adorable,
that
like,
thing.
no, I don't even
Well,
hate
okay.
it. I just
what do you like?
no. I don't hate Pikachu. I am the type of person that in my mentality, all animals are on the table. And for people who are like, oh, really? So are your dogs on the table? Yeah. If times get that tough, why do you think I have big dogs?
Emergency
They're either
food
going
supply.
to protect me.
This is really just making the argument that you need to get goats, Royce. This is just
God
another
damn it.
like pro
God
goat
damn it.
argument.
All right. Jake Miller, this game seems way more well produced than Game Freak can handle.
Well, I mean, I don't have a
That's an
budget.
endorsement.
Look, I'm just putting stuff on paper and making dice rolls and writing things. That's basically the extent of my technical abilities.
Right?
Oh, and drawing. I guess I do that.
I was gonna say, dude, your drawings are fucking incredible. I would love to get some of your drawings on just a print form and give them to my kids if I could. Like that, they're
Stickers, man.
unbelievably fantastic.
I think there's some in the Redbubble shop like that.
Ooh, and that is probably linked in your link tree.
Probably.
Oh, probably.
I think.
We can assume so.
All right. Well, it's now.
I
down in
should
the
check.
chat.
It's not. Damn it.
Not our fault.
And
It
Donnie says,
exists,
"Lamb
but
is a
you
baby
can't
sheep.
see it.
Royce enjoys eating babies." Yeah. I'm not even gonna. I love lamb.
I'm going to add my Redbubble shop real quick.
I'm drunk, but not that drunk. I'm not going there.
Raving Dad Gaming says, Dicebag. If Royce plays, you have to make it a rule that the first creature he gets is a goat. God damn it, no! You
It's
guys
going to
are
be
horrible.
really unfortunate for all the other players that happen to play this game named Royce. If
You
we
guys are
put in a
horrible.
rule that says
What?
all players named Royce must start with a goat.
Depending on the type of goat that it is, can there be multiple different types of goat? Can there be a mystical goat? Can there be a regular goat? Can there be like a not?
It's a goat, Royce.
RH Snow, the Goat Wolf Clan will have goats, wolves, goat wolves. Goddamn. You guys converted RH Snow against me, you
Yes, we
bastards.
Welcome to the club, Queen.
I hate you all.
Or should I say the clan?
Hope goats eat your shorts, Royce. Jokes, and that's for $2. That is a super chat. Jokes on you. I don't own a pair of shorts. I wear jeans. I don't own a pair of shorts. I wear jeans. I wear jeans and boots. Like, you want to see what I'm going to see what the shoe wear that I have on tonight? Yeah, that's yeah. I don't,
All right.
You know.
Redbubble link added.
There we go.
nice.
Yay!
Yeah,
Up
real
in my
men,
show
real
game.
men, real men don't wear shorts. That's where I'm at. and
gonna
when I
call
when I
foul
when
on
I
that one.
say and when I hope everybody understands when I say I don't own a pair of shorts, I don't own a pair of shorts. I think I think like a year and a half ago, my wife, because the swimming pool, because the kids wanted me to go to the swimming pool with them, they wouldn't let me swim in my jeans. So my wife had to go to the store and buy like just a cheap pair of basketball shorts so I could swim with the kids. I don't know where those are. They may or may not still be in the house. I have no idea. I haven't seen them in a long time. I don't own a pair of shorts. I wear blue jeans. That's what men wear. That's what we're supposed to wear because men should be ready to work at a moment's notice. And
You can work in shorts.
no, the fuck you can't. That's the
Yeah, you
dumbest. Fuck.
can.
Not around rattlesnakes and shit. Never mind. Never.
It just ups the fun factor, the adventure.
All right, snow for $1.99. Royce, please get Rose a pet goat to pet and hug and love. No, if I buy
You
her a
really
goat, it
wore
will be to
shorts?
eat and to fill my belly. I don't know.
Well, it'll eat stuff, that's for sure.
I know. It'll eat the siding off the house. It
And
will
the
eat.
shingles off the roof.
It will. Goats are actually my buddy Convoy Bebop. His dad actually used to have a goat farm, and he's told me all about it. He loves the hell out of them. He's like they're amazing animals. He's like, but yes, they will eat everything. So,
Be fun to feed beer cans too, though.
Dicebag, good sir.
Sorry.
Yes.
We are reaching the part of the evening, especially because I am wildly tired.
And I'm drunk.
What is your final show for the evening? Where can we find you, and what can we look forward to from you in the future?
Oh hell. I am on Twitter where I hang out a lot most of the time. So if you want to keep in touch with stuff going on, that's the place to be. There's also minds.com if you're over there, if you've even heard of the place. I'm got a pretty good following over there. I also stream, especially like art streams. I do those quite a bit. Usually I do some stream like once a week at least. And that's on my YouTube. It's also on Rumble. It's on Odyssey, on Twitch. Just look for Dicebaggery or Dicebag Games. And if I'm there, you'll probably find me.
And I did share your link tree down in the chats below. So hopefully people will be able to find all of those links there.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm in the point where I need a community for the game. So if you're interested and you can't find the stuff on the wiki, reach out, just at me at Twitter or send me a message. I think my DMs are open. I don't really know, but
Dicebag, are you in my gilded?
no.
All right. At the cost of potentially your soul, I am going to go to Twitter and I am going to send you the link to my gilded. Just make sure that your icon looks the same and answer the question. And obviously you have Dicebag, but if you're looking for somebody to get into it, I don't say this because it's my community. I say that's because I have been told by others that my gilded has something special that I don't quite know what it is. Go to my gilded,
collaborators.
talk with people. I really believe that you'll find some people there.
Yeah. Well, I've been hanging out in your chats and I see you've got a ton of writers in your community, and I could definitely use some writers to look at the stuff at the very least. Maybe I've been thinking about just going at some point and hiring people to write adventure modules for it, but I don't know anything about commissioning writing of any kind. I'm an art guy, that's what I understand. But
right,
as far as that goes, I'm looking for people that want to get on board this train and we'll see if I can fit you in. I've already got an art assistant to help me do the line art and the tedious stuff. So I don't know how much I could pay if somebody wants to do something like that. But
I don't think you understand what my gilded is.
Yeah, we just do shit.
It's a community, bro. And just all you gotta do is just join and pop in and say hi. And then talk about your stuff. And then see what happens. Because some absolutely insane shit has people that I didn't know were connecting and making things happen. Like I said, just join the guild and pop in and say hi. I promise you, it's different than a lot of online communities. I don't know why, and I feel that it is by the grace of God that it is. But just pop in. Just see. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. No.
I'll give it a look, but I have a tendency to join places like Guilded or Discord and hang out for a bit and then get overwhelmed by all the different conversations that are coming on and then dip out. That's usually how it goes with things like that.
I totally understand, dude.
And that would be totally fine. All I ask is that you the best part about the A Drink with Crazy Gilded, it's not about A Drink with Crazy. In fact, it's the furthest thing from it. It's everybody coming together to build and create. And then the meme lords are there. It's like they just fucking that's just what they do.
Yes. At the very least, I'm interested.
Well, that's good to know.
I love
I've got one fan.
There you go.
You give me a month, I can come up with some content for you.
I'm definitely thinking down the road on how I'd want to handle stuff like that because Wizards of the Coast and their whole shenanigans. Yeah. That's by the way another thing that I have on my plate. My goal ultimately is to kill Wizards of the Coast. I hate that company.
Yes!
You're not alone. You're not alone.
I love it.
There's a lot of people who are not happy at all with WotC.
Yeah,
not at all.
I've been seeing their trajectory coming down the road ever since their lead designer on Magic the Gathering set up a Tumblr blog.
Tumblr.
It started going woke around there. And this was years ago. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And notice how when Tumblr, because Tumblr got busted for a lot of child videos that they shouldn't have had, and they said we're no longer allowing prawn on our platform, and then all of those people went to Twitter.
Yep.
Notice how
and now look at Twitter.
And Elon Musk is cracking down on that, and those people are going to go somewhere else, and I hope that those people go to hell, to be perfectly honest. But Mr. Daniel P. Riley, good sir. What you got?
What?
Don't fucking start with me. You got something to show.
Oh, there's always something to show. We'll start with my literary coaching and services, where you can get editing for your projects. You can get real-time sit-downs with me for an hour, which I've been told are very enlightening and enjoyable, and anything else that you might need for all of your written works at whimsyland.org. You can ask me questions on Twitter anytime you like, or try to fight with me, though I don't tend to respond to fighting. At Mr. DP Riley.
Just tell him that you're me.
Just wait until it's Friday nights after he's had a few drinks in.
Surprisingly, I don't get on Twitter intentionally after the show because
you have to lure him onto Twitter.
I'll say all kinds of shit.
Oh, Daniel, did you see this thing? You gotta go check this out. It's on Twitter. And he's like, what? And they're like, motherfucker.
I will say all kinds of crap that'll get Royce's whole channel nuked. But yeah, we'll
It's
not go
okay.
there.
We're on Rumble, baby.
Yeah.
Rumble doesn't nuke people.
That's where I live. Rumble is my jam.
Right.
But yeah, G Sedai is my most recent submission to the world. G Sedai 2, the second book, which is the second book of a trilogy that I will be finishing in 2024, and then we'll move on to some new stories. Along with that, the comic is coming along excellently. I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing this. I've actually extended it from 24 pages to 32 and adding some extra content and some extra cool stuff that my artist is going to be providing. Plus, I've already started reaching out and trying to talk with some interesting artists about variant covers for when we do the initial launch campaign. So, a lot of cool stuff coming.
That is legit, dude. I love hearing you just advance. Here's what's cool. Every week you feel like you're getting closer and closer to the goal, and I love that. Really quickly before I get over to Richard, Raving Dad Gaming for $2 says, "I work with dry ice and shorts. Real man, fucking," and then he puts some laughing emojis. Sir, if you own shorts,
Has he been
I'm
drinking
sorry.
too?
I don't know. I don't know if he's been drinking. Raving Dad Gaming. I don't know. Yeah. But real men don't wear shorts. That's yeah. No. I've
You
never
can
seen-
eat a bag of dicks, Royce.
I will not, because I'm a real man and I don't own shorts. Richard, what do you got going on, dude?
Well, the big one is the short story voting from August.
Did you say shorts?
Short story voting on ironage.media. I do like short stories. They are for real men. You can enjoy them.
That's true. That is true.
Yes. And also Anvil issue number 2. If you have not picked it up yet, I suggest you do it soon, because we're getting real close on when the printing is done, and then once that's over, I only have so many of them, and I'm not going to do another print run for a while. So hop on, check it out. If you have any questions about what's in there, you can reach out to me on Twitter at ironage.media, or you can follow the magazine's Twitter account, just Amble Magazine on Twitter or X. And
you can call it Twix, it's fine.
Yeah, Twix. And
We'll give it to you.
there's a flip through from the second issue if you want a quick view of what's inside and everything else. It really looks absolutely fantastic, and I think everybody's going to be super happy to get it in their hands.
Does.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited to get my copy of Anvil too. I'm very excited.
Yes.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here on Iron Age Nights. What is it, number 49?
Whoa.
Holy crap. We're getting closer to the 1 year celebration. Thank you all so much for being here. It has been an absolute blast being your host. Dicebag, man. Dude, as this develops, you've got to keep in touch with us, man. What you've got going on is just absolutely fantastic, dude.
I agree.
So, like Dungeons and Dragons mixed with Pokemon. I feel that our generation, the millennial generation, absolutely would love that, and I want to see as much success for you as possible, man. So, guys, if you have not checked out the link tree that I have been posting all stream, you need to go check that out, because that's where you can find what Dicebag is doing.
Glial supremacy.
I hate you so much right now.
I am so making a legendary item that is a pair of magical shorts just for you, right?
I hate you so much. I can't describe that.
Call them
Like,
culottes or whatever the fuck they go.
Oh my god. Oh, I hate you all. You're all just why you guys have to do that to me? Try to be just
Because
fun
it's
and
fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in to Iron Age Nights. I appreciate all of you being here, and don't forget we're going live tomorrow night for Star Shatter. We'll see you all then. Cheers, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.